Is in debt. Have you ever wondered why the government forces Canadians to pay so many taxes? Have you ever wondered why the bankers from the largest private banks are becoming wealthier and the rest of us are not? Have you ever wondered why the gross national debt is over $800 billion? Or why we are spending $160 million a day on the interest of the national debt? That's $60 billion a year. Have you ever wondered who receives the $60 billion? What I have discovered is the banks and the government have colluded to financially enslave the people of Canada. I will share with you 3 important points of reference, which will hopefully spark enough interest and concern for you to continue the research on your own and to engage your government to stop this criminal act against the people of Canada. First, we will briefly examine the Bank of Canada. Second, we will see how our banking system works today. And lastly, I will offer a viable solution that we can petition our government to implement. A very little known figure in Canadian history is J.O. McGeer. He was a lawyer, Member of Parliament, and Mayor of Vancouver. His contribution to Canada is probably the greatest in our history. He championed the creation of the National Bank of Canada, whose sole purpose is to create and manage Canada's money. It was formed on July 3, 1934, and owned by all Canadians. Until the 1970s, because of the Bank of Canada, Canada's national debt was held at a constant manageable level, until the government decided to implement what we now have as our modern-day banking system that is robbing the Canadian people. So how are they robbing us? Allow me to explain how our private banks and government work today. First, the Canadian government borrows money from the private banks. They then lend the debt-based money to Canada with compounded interest. The government then continues to increase taxation of Canadians year after year in order to pay back the interest on the exponentially growing national debt. What results is inflation, less real money for Canadians to spend into our economy, and the real money being used to pad the pockets of the banks. Also, the government gave the banks the ability to loan out money that doesn't exist in the form of loans. When a bank gives you a mortgage, which literally means a death pledge, or a loan, they don't actually give you money. They click a key on a computer and generate the fake money out of thin air. They don't actually have it in their bank vaults. Presently, the banks only have $4 billion on reserve, but they have loaned out over $1.5 trillion. To quote Graham Towers, each and every time a bank makes a loan, a new bank credit is created. New deposits, brand new money. Broadly speaking, all new money comes out of a bank in the form of loans. As loans are debt, then under the present system, all money is debt. What I find interesting is even Jesus, in Matthew 21, drove out the money changers in the temple because they were manipulating the currency to steal money from the people. The private banks are just like the money changers in Matthew 21. They are defrauding and robbing the people of Canada, thus their freedom, and they need to be stopped. How should the banking system work? In an infamous interview, Mr. McGeer asked Mr. Towers, "Can you tell me why a government with power to create money should give that power away to a private monopoly and then borrow that which Parliament can create itself back at interest to the point of national bankruptcy?" Mr. Towers replied, "If Parliament wants to change the form of operating the banking system, then certainly that is within the powers of Parliament. In other words, if the Canadian government needs money, they can borrow it directly from the Bank of Canada. The people would then pay fair taxes to repay the Bank of Canada. This tax money would in turn get injected back into our economic infrastructure and the debt would be wiped out. Canadians would again prosper with real money as the foundation of our economic structure and not debt money. Regarding the debt money owed to the private banks, such as the Royal Bank, We would simply have the Bank of Canada print the money owing, hand it over to the private banks, and then clear the debt with the Bank of Canada. And yes, we have the power and lawful right to do so. In conclusion, it has become painfully obvious, even for me, a 12-year-old Canadian, that we are being defrauded and robbed by the banking system and a complicit government. What will we do to stop this crime? What will we do to ensure that the next generation will live free and clear of the debt-based economy that enslaves them to the banks? Margaret Mead said the following, and I hope that all of you remember this. Never doubt that a small group of people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Thank you.
Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diane, and today is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And here are your updates for today. It's Sunday, early Sunday evening. And here we go. We'll go into the breakingnewsfirst.com. And heads up, violent thunderstorms possible this evening in and around southern Arkansas. Heads up, and that's coming out of Breaking Weather. Also, 1,000 acres burned in Colorado wildfire, 45% containment. Heads up. Also, scientists discover unexpectedly large and active community of single-cell organisms at deepest site on Earth. Alrighty, then that's coming out of the AFP. Now, let's see what else we got. Wildfire in Laramie County, Colorado continues to blaze. 55 miles per hour winds expected today. That's coming out of the Denver Post. Alrighty then. Heads up, if you're between Boston and New York, Amtrak to restore service between Boston and New York after derailment. So I guess it's just about repaired now. So that way you know for tomorrow on Monday when you go to work. Alrighty then, moving on. Let's go to the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Ash explosions reported at Indonesia's Kamchatka and Papua New Guinea volcanoes. Heads up, they're both going off. Also, today, Western New York State, residents baffled by mysterious boom noises. Heads up. Some kind of weird boom noises. Chilling report, 10,000 plus could die in major northwest U.S. earthquake. Alrighty then. We read that yesterday. Moving on. The Watchers watching the world. Strong CME impact G2 geomagnetic storm. Also, Tropical Cyclone Tim spinning in northwest Coral Sea. Also, I think that's it. I reported everything else yesterday. Moving on. E&E News. Energy News. Fukushima, Japan. Today, Reuters. Can't stop underground... Reuters. Can't stop groundwater from flowing into Fukushima reactors. 4 years to fix. So it's in the groundwater. Heads up, heads up. Yeah, 4 years to fix, but you shouldn't be the one fixing it. Fire them all. Fire them all, like I said. Get some competent people in there. TV. Historic number of sea lions washing up in Southern California has reached epidemic proportions. Center declares state of emergency. Feds, there's something going on oceanogeographically. Why don't we try? It's not a no-brainer. You got billions of becquerels being dumped for the last 2 years continuously into the Pacific Ocean. Now, Southern California, and the sea lions are washing up. What's there? The Pacific Ocean. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. You're killing everything in the Pacific Ocean. And then, yes, crimes against humanity, and it's all going to backfire for not reporting on it, for not doing something about it. It's going to be the big backfire on you guys and letting it all get destroyed. You're not creating new jobs for yourselves because you're all incompetent and you're all going to be replaced. That's what has to happen. Lack of reporting does not mean that you don't have guilt by association. You're in on it too. You know that there was radiation going in. Didn't warn anybody, didn't take care of the animals. Shame on you people. Shame on you. Oh yes. Officials report burp at giant Louisiana sinkhole, oil on surface, large gas outburst. That's right. So we should be only paying maybe 25 cents a gallon for gas, since there's so much oil in abundance over there. Let's suck it all up and barrel it, and we have our own supply right there. That's what needs to be done. We have our own supply. They're letting it float at the top. Let's suck that stuff off. How's that? Oil on surface. That's right. Let's reclaim it. Let's grab it. Oil prices should go way, way down. I guess that's another one. Something was. What's up with that? Why is it going to British Petroleum when it's our oil? Used to say BP was beyond petroleum. Baloney. That's what they told people in California. I remember those commercials. Why don't they say the truth? British Petroleum. Well, oh well. It's there. It's ours. Claim it. Just claim it. It's Texas tea. Let's process it. Get it out of there. We should be paying 25 cents a gallon. Alright, moving on. Doesn't someone look stupid? Oil shortage. Oh, we have an oil... No, we don't. Now it's just blivering out all over the place. So much oil, we don't know what to do with it. Okay. Radiation expert. Even southern Tokyo is contaminated from Fukushima disaster. How about Southern California? Even Southern California. Alright. Radiation expert. Even southern Tokyo is contaminated from Fukushima disaster. We seriously have to think about what we should do. Okay. When you have to think about it, the radiation expert needs to think about it after 2 years. That's called incompetency. And we need to fire them all and get new people in there. That's it. It's a no-brainer. Want me to go over there and fire everyone? I will. I'll fire everyone from here. Give them I'll process their pink slips, and I'll find better scientists to handle the situation. How's that? Alright, let's see. TV, and I am qualified to do that. TV, Tokyo is very contaminated from Fukushima disaster. Many people have left already. No, many people haven't left. Alrighty? They're all being contaminated. It's crimes against humanity. CBS, those Fukushima reactors are still releasing radioactive material into ocean, and that's an expert. Hey CBS, you should have been reporting on this from the gate and warning people. Oh, those Fukushima reactors are still releasing what do you mean by those Fukushima reactors are still releasing radioactive material into ocean? Oh, because CBS is not far, maybe 10 miles. One of the main ones in LA, 10 miles off the coast? Huh? Over there at Fairfax and Beverly Boulevard? I know, I grew up there. Well, guess what, buddy boys? When that ocean water and the wind and the current, when that jet stream comes in, guess what's happening to you? You don't think you're getting hit with that stuff? Think again. Too late now, though. Alrighty then, New York Times. Sinkhole frenzy ensures NPR reporter. Bayou Corn sinkhole is a national story. Nah, that is a national story. You know what the story is? All the oil that was hidden over there. That's the story. That's the story of the century. Oh, we don't have our own oil? Oh, we're selling our own oil over there to British Petroleum? Off our coast and charging us like $4 or $5 and there's a oil shortage? People are in trouble for that one too. Don't think you're not. Really, don't think you're not. Oh yes. All of you guys look, you know, it's not just me. If a little person like me's saying it, oh, guess how many of the other people are saying it? And if they aren't saying it and they're just thinking it, that's when you better watch out, because they're getting ready to fire everybody probably. At least I'm warning you about it. I'm warning you. You know all about you guys hiding all that oil over there, and now it's a big mess. And don't think a lot of people didn't hear how, for some reason, they're going to try to take that area over and make it so that there weren't any people living in that area. I remember hearing that off of one of them. I think it was Coast to Coast. I heard it, I think, off of Coast to Coast, and I heard it off of Alex Jones, and I heard it off of J.R. Moore. I've heard it a few times, Bill DEAGLE. They want that area for the resources, so they made it inhabitable. That was already planned. Go research. I want people to research that and pull that up. It was sometime, I believe, less than a year ago they talked about it. They've been talking about doing that for years. But there was a big surge of them talking about that a while back before this sinkhole. That was the plan. But that doesn't matter now. Everybody sees that there was a whole bunch of oil over there, and we had our own oil, and it was being scandalously sold out from under us, right? Is that what was going on? Alright. Enough of that rant. Alright. E&E News, U.S.-Canada TV, historic number of sea lions washing up in Southern California has reached epidemic proportions. Center declares state of emergency feds. There's something going on oceanographically. You know what's going on. How ridiculous is that statement? Come on now. You know how many people know about Fukushima? You're going to say a statement like that? And the radiation in the tuna? And all the in Alaska, the animals are coming up with sores and signs of radiation poisoning, tumors and all kinds of stuff, and dying. Never mind. You know, it's incredible how incompetent. Maybe it's the fluoride heads that are making these statements. Is that what it is? Too much fluoride in your water system, your supplies, or something wrong? Alrighty then. Incompetent. Alright, fire them all. Just fire them all. Let's get some real people doing something. It doesn't matter what they're going to try to take over. Sustainable community. How sustainable is the ocean? The Pacific Ocean, is that sustainable? And why isn't it sustainable? And why is there an oil mess over there from a company that's not a part of, that's from a company that we fought against, you know, and broke off from? And you can imagine why they went ahead and destroyed the oil over there, huh? But on top of everything else, we have enough oil that we never have to pay for oil again, maybe. Maybe that needs to be a class action suit or something. I don't know. Alright. Officials report burp at giant Louisiana sinkhole, oil on surface, large gas outburst. Alrighty then. Take care. I did run that little girl. I'm going to start it off with the little girl. You probably saw her already, so I mean, if a 12-year-old is awake, then these people running things, they are so damaged from the fluoride, fluoric acid, or however you say that one, aspartame heads, you know. What a generation that destroyed almost everything. And it wasn't the baby boomers. I'll say it again. This stuff was in place around our parents' generation, maybe just in between our parents and our grandparents' generation. They really pulled a number on us. Well, we'll fix that. Guess we're going to have to fix that, so the future generations can survive. Alrighty then. Take care. It's 2 days down of the weekend. Be safe. Be ready for Monday. Pack your lunches. Do whatever you can to save money. And be safe. And I'll see you on the flip side. And don't stay up too late tonight partying. Tomorrow's work. Alrighty then. Take care. I got your backs. See you on the flip side. Be safe.
They believe that they're the keepers of civilization. They've got everything from caviar to vehicles to underground food, movies, theaters stored. They call these places hotels underground. They spent quadrillions, not just trillions, but quadrillions of dollars, and not just in America, but there are at least 5,000 of these installations all over the planet. Some of the biggest ones in places like Norway and China, for millions and millions of citizens. Even in North Korea, believe it or not, they have these giant facilities underground. They may not be palaces, but they have them. In Norway, I know about 2 large facilities that are almost 16 cubic miles in size, just 2 of them. In America, we're building at the middle 90s 1 new facility every 7 weeks, anywhere from 4.5 to 11 cubic miles in size. Primarily in dormant magma domes, we're using a matrix technology. We're using these special types of rock-cutting tunneling devices that could tunnel it anywhere from 7 to 12 miles per day through solid rock and create a zero-debris tunnel. So they're way more advanced than the so-called tunnel device that creates lots of debris. They've been doing this for decades, and they're in a panic. And the fact that they're spending this money, and they're literally trying to blow out the economy to get total control. Your problems will be gone. You can write them in Word or PDF. Send them over to Amazon or Kindle. Welcome back, and we have Ann Morrison and Alexander Bachman. Alexander, you have so much information. I want to get a quick report from Ann Morrison about the science of what's going on. We have 3 comets this year. NASA's the year of the comet. We have the Pan-STARRS, which
wait, hold on. Dr. Deagle.
Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to interject. Pan-STAR, the devil's stars, the devil's fallen angels.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? You brought that out.
Passing exactly on the 13th of March over the northern hemisphere, right?
Right, which is, by the way, over the Pan-STAR, over the we have Pan-STARRS, then we have the Lemon Comet, which is going to pass closer to Venus, and we may actually get part of the tail of it. And then the real dangerous one is the first week in November, where this comet, according to the kernel, or the main part of the comet, is so big it's the size of our moon, going to be passing within 700,000 miles of the inner heliosphere of the sun. We know we'll create a superstorm on the sun. We just don't know which direction. It's like somebody spinning on a platform with a shotgun blindfolded. You don't know if that shotgun blast is going to hit you, because when it spreads out, those 9mm balls from the shotgun blast, one of those balls, if it hits you in the wrong place, you're dead. And the problem is, if that blast happens to even just graze the Earth's magnetosphere, we're going to have super volcanoes, super earthquakes, and a wiping out of our power grid. Our electronic age will disappear, and much of the equipment will take years to replace. And meanwhile, the population will literally become, quote, zombified, which means they'll literally start eating each other after they run out of food. The first 3 days, the food is rotting, and people are saying, yeah, they're going to switch on the power. The 4th day, the dog food will run out, and people are going to lose it. When that happens, and the sewage starts to back up because they get water rationing because they don't have backup power for their water sewage treatment, The population are going to go on a rampage, and people who do have guns are going to be shooting a lot of their fellow citizens trying to grab their stuff. So when people think the Doomsday Preppers is over the top, they have no idea. When they have this movie coming out, the main people that they're worried about in the movie was called World War Z is not the zombies, which get hit with a bioweapon that eats their cortex. But by the way, the Russians did develop a zombie virus that can eat the cortex and turn people into zombies. Or there's what's called neurotoxins from mycobacteria that can do a similar zombification by affecting the brain metabolism. These are actual weapons that were developed. The real zombie war is about the citizens who are armed, who are trying to survive the zombies and the globalists who actually released these weapons. That's the whole point of World War Z. And what's going to happen with these comets? We got Pan-STARRS, Lemon, and what's the third one? What's it called, the one in November?
Ison. It's called
ISIS?
Ison. I-S-O-N.
A sun, like in the sun, like the Son of Man?
I-S-O-N.
Yeah, I am the sun, yeah.
Ison. So in other words, it's like the coming of a sun. I am the sun, in other words. It's almost like Satan's returning. He said, I'm the sun. Okay, oh, that's not good. So we have Pan-STARRS, which is Satan's stars. We have Lemon. I wonder what that means, lemon. Maybe God's saying, your world is a lemon, so now I'm going to repossess it.
He's going to make lemonade.
Yeah. You can make lemonade from lemons. And what's going on with earthquakes, volcanoes, magnetosphere? What's going on with sinkholes?
This is a news alert on the CME. There was a CME today, and it looks like it lasted for 2 hours. The flare itself was an M1.1, so you know the range, the range on the flares goes BCMX. So this is and then X2. So this is the third range up. And,
this is the second highest range you can get for a coronal mass ejection, so it's a big one.
Well, for the flare, yeah, it's an M1.
Yeah, for the flare, yeah.
Yeah, and it did have X-rays, and it lasted for 2 hours also. So we have the eruption of the CME and the eruption of the flare, and it looks like they occurred almost simultaneously. And the entire thing lasted a little over 2 hours, and it came from a sunspot numbered 1692. Now, it's north 11, east 12. So what does that tell you? That tells you that it's not very far away from the middle spot of the sun, and that means that it's Earth-directed. So we expect the CME to come in here probably in 2 or 3 days, and they haven't posted the speed or anything yet, so I don't know where it'll hit or anything.
Yeah. Now, by the way, I've got a solution. And this came in a dream the other night, and I want to just put it out there because I know that, Alexander, you're researching these things all the time, and you're a scientist. First off, we have to, the original idea that Edward Teller gave about putting particles in the upper atmosphere wasn't in the Earth's atmosphere, it was out at 22,000 miles, inside the Van Allen radiation belt. And what he was trying to do is to strengthen the belt so that if there was a CME, it wouldn't knock out the Earth-based communications, because even he, in the 1950s, perceived this as a major risk. What they need to do is actually have something very simpler. What you need is a fiber mesh. It doesn't need to be solid, it can have open mesh on it, where you have carbon fibers that literally shoot over thousands of miles and create a net. That net could be facing toward the sun, where it says small micro rockets after it's been launched, and has a reflective surface on the inside facing toward Earth, so you can actually know its position in space and have the micro rockets adjusted based on the angle of the CME coming in. And you can create what I call an iris type thing. In other words, it doesn't need to be a solid thing. It could be like a band or a series of bands where you could deflect, almost like if you had a projectile coming at you and you had a shield, you'd aim that shield to deflect the pulse. And what would happen is the first wave of energy that strikes it is number one, light, so it tells you the proper angle to come to adjust. The second pulse is protons, and the final pulse is a plasma, which causes a real big damage. And what you do is the protons would charge up the material and maintain that charge. So we would, when the high energy plasma hits it with trillions of tons, it's not that it has a lot of weight or mass, but it's a charged surface. You'd have this, the impact literally would be, would hit these carbon fibers and then deflect it off into deep space so it wouldn't strike the Earth. I think if it was far enough away, it doesn't have to deflect it many degrees to have a very positive effect, because at that distance, you're at least 8 Earth diameters, and as a result, you're far enough out in space that only a few degrees of deflection would be sufficient to save the Earth from a geomagnetic storm that could cause cataclysm on a planet. What do you think of that idea?
Well, you don't want to do anything you haven't thought about the repercussions of.
Well, what you do is you'd have this carbon fiber net that would literally shoot out, and you could adjust it with little ion rockets out in space, 22,000 miles up, easy to put up, easy to adjust. You'd have your stereo telescopes and others we can tell you exactly which angle and direction the CME is coming in, and you'd know the deflection angle when it would go out.
Tremendous amount of asteroids our way, possibly many of them being deflected and impacted upon our planet. What happened in...
well, you know, Space Command, its primary purpose is to deflect asteroids. So I mentioned there that other system, but when I talk Space Command, U.S. Space Command has all kinds of weapon systems, including Tesla weapons, to deflect asteroids. They spent trillions on these systems, but they can't stop them all, because we're going to have asteroid storms, meteor storms, because these are debris that actually rotates around this dwarf star. And the reason why you can't see it, it's only a matter of degrees above absolute zero. It's a red dwarf with a very powerful magnetic field, which means it's going to cause major plasma discharges as it gets closer to the sun. So we're going to have solar superstorms, not only from it, but the comets it pushes in that cross the pathway close in the inner heliosphere. So it's going to be the year of the comet, all right, but it's going to be the year of the coronal mass ejection, the year when gravitonic effects speed up or volcanism, not only on our planet but others in the solar system. So things are going to start getting very weird. The fact that they discussed the Higgs boson the same day and they actually announced it, the Higgs boson outside it is a statue and symbols of Kali, the destroyer, and in the ancient Hindu god system. So they're basically saying that we're ready to destroy the old world. It's a process that's the ancient Druidic process called Pahanuk, which is the ancient ceremony of Sumer, where they destroy the world and they resurrect it, and they literally want to be masters of the chaos, resurrecting the new world to follow the one that's destroyed and being masters of that new age as well. That's what the activity that's going on around the world is unprecedented, and there are other individuals that have had recent contacts that indicate that how can I say, a level of evil is going on in the earth, and transdimensionally, as it says, a war in the heavens is occurring at an unprecedented level of intensity.
Well,
so
we
things
have
are really...
We have confirmation from people deep inside the black community that have confirmed that there is a strong movement under the ground right now by these entities.
You're talking about the Black Op. Yeah, Black Op. You mean the...
Yeah, Black Ops, AlphaCom team, the AlphaCom team, the Aquarius teams, the Com-12 teams, they're on alert because of what's going on inside the Earth right now.
Well, and also, of course, Dulce is not only a place for lots of weird interactions with the, I call transdimensionals, but also it's called the Hall of Horrors, where they've been doing a lot of transgenic research to create chimeric and monstrosities. And people say, Dr. DEAGLE, they can't do this. I said, well, let me give you a recipe. If you don't want to believe me, you take any mammal or any species that gets into the blastula phase, simply disrupt the cells, put them in the media, and then zap them with electricity, and those cells will reorganize so you can create a chimera. It's that easy. And then you just implant that back inside the uterus of whatever animal, and you want to regrow it, and it will be transgenically literally created of cells of two different species, so you can create a chimera. There's also ways of inserting specific sets of genes horizontally into the other species and organism, and when you put them in a specific phase of the animal, it doesn't reject those genes, it integrates them and expresses those genes as part of its own. So the idea of making transgenic beings, just like the book of Jasher said, this is a prohibition by God not to mix the seed. This is what's happening on a level, and on the public level, it's GMO food that's killing the population and doing gene switching and promoting. But on the transgenic level, and I presented this back in 1997, The genetic engineering of super soldiers, which is on a female template with transgenically inserted genes, has been going on in collaboration with Moscow and their research centers there in Moscow for 5+ decades.
Wow.
Wow. Watch the comments because they're going to ignite the sun and CMEs are going to come our way.
Yeah, I think we're going to have this is the year of the CME, and if you look at, watch the doomsday preppers, they must be listening to this show because the primary danger, the number one danger, followed right after that is the airborne plague of one of these super flus like coronavirus or H7N3. The number one danger is a comet inducing a CME that strikes the Earth. Better be prepared. Get your Nutrimeds, take care of your health, be prepped in every way, especially spiritually, for what's coming. Take care.
NOORY, and welcome to this remarkable program we call Coast to Coast AM. Later tonight, oh yes, those open lines, so get ready for that. Here's what's happening. President Barack Obama's bid to renew a ban against military-style assault weapons narrowly won the backing of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and it's headed to the full Senate where it appears certain to fail. Military-style assault weapons have been the weapon of choice in a number of recent U.S. mass shootings, including the one at an elementary school in Connecticut that killed 20 children, 6 adults on December 14th. Some polls are showing a majority of Americans back the ban, but most Senate Republicans and a number of Democrats from rural states oppose it, arguing that it would violate the constitutional right to bear arms. And many of those politicians fear the backing of that legislation could cost them re-election. Another problem, you can't believe this, Carnival Cruise Lines all screwed up these days. Another Carnival cruise ship has reported problems while at sea, becoming now the third Carnival ship in less than 2 months to experience difficulties aboard. The Carnival Legend is skipping all of its scheduled stops through the Caribbean and is heading back to port of Tampa to arrive Sunday, moving at only 14 miles an hour. Captain Kelly Sweeney with us. Kelly, this is almost surreal.
Ahoy, George, it certainly is. And as you pointed out, they've had some serious safety violations in the last month or two, and a lot of people don't know that our U.S. Coast Guard has investigated 90 incidents, what are called marine casualties in the business, on board Carnival cruise ships in the last 5 years, even though the Coast Guard is not in charge of safety on these vessels because they're registered in foreign countries. Now, there was something that came out today that I think we should pass on to the listeners as well. Carnival Cruise Line announced today that they made $37 million in just the first quarter of this year. And in my opinion, if they don't use some of that money to improve the preventive maintenance and repair program on their vessels, incidents like these are just going to continue to happen and put more and more passengers at risk.
You're right, Kelly. Not only that, their sales are going to start plummeting. I mean, I don't dabble much in the stock market. This is one stock I'd consider selling short. Geez.
Well, I tell you, George, stocks are one thing, but lives are another. And as a mariner and as somebody who's been in charge of a vessel and lives and somebody who cares very deeply about marine safety, to me it's unacceptable that these kind of things are happening. They really need to get their act together, in my opinion. And, you know, I recommend to all the Coast listeners, all the Coast family here, you know, if you're considering going on a cruise, think twice about who you're going to choose to go on the cruise on. And I recommend to my family, consider going on an American ship with American crews. At least they'll be following U.S. maritime safety laws.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Kelly. Have a good weekend. You might remember the movie Titanic, right? Remember right toward the end, they had a group of people, musicians, playing on the deck as the ship sank and it was going down? Well, they found the violin of one of those guys, a rosewood violin played by bandmaster Wallace Hartley on the Titanic deck as the ship sank, has been confirmed as authentic by investigators, could soon be brought to auction. It's worth 6 figures and likely will be sold in the near future. For now, it will be exhibited in England. The instrument was found inside a leather case engraved with Hartley's initials, strapped to his body. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan, remember him? Well, he said that even with the record high stock prices, investors don't need to worry about irrational exuberance at this time. In fact, he says, in his view, stocks are still significantly undervalued. A Metro Detroit elementary school is asking students to simply leave their backpacks at home after bed bugs were found in the school. Parents of students at the Bernice McDowell Elementary School in Taylor received a note earlier this week that bed bugs were found inside the school and inside a textbook, and they think some kid brought it to the school. An incredible story of a 5-million-year-old saber-toothed cat fossil discovered in Florida. It's an unbelievable story. You'll find it at coasttocoastam.com. What's happening in the skies these days? Let's check in with Peter Davenport from the National UFO Reporting Center. What's the latest, Peter?
Good evening, George, and thanks for having me on again so soon tonight. Some interesting breaking news, some interesting, very interesting sightings across the United States just tonight within recent hours. But with the permission of your engineer, I've been allowed to take a minute to talk about a very tragic accident that happened up here on Monday of this week, very close to the city of Harrington, Washington, where I reside. At about 8:48 Monday morning, the 11th of March, a U.S. Navy EA-6B based at Whidbey Island Naval Air Station tragically crashed out here in a wheat field west of the town I live in. And I just thought I'd take a moment to call this to the attention of the Coast to Coast listeners and to extend our condolences, sincere condolences to the families and loved ones of those brave aviators. We have a lot of low flights over our county because of the nature of the territory out here, and we look upon those people as good neighbors and welcome guests, and it just placed a pall over the county of Lincoln after this accident, and I just wanted to extend those condolences to the families and loved ones. And thank you for allowing me to do that, George.
Sure thing. Absolutely.
3 very interesting sightings just tonight. Clinton, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Again, orange fireballs, George. Have no idea what they are. They're cropping up everywhere. They're being reported from California, New York, Iowa, Florida. A lot of sightings down in Florida. And tonight we just got a very interesting report of a craft that was seen hovering in the night sky over Genesee County, Michigan. That's very close there. That's where Flint, Michigan is, down in the southeast corner. A lot of interesting reports. Should have the website updated very soon. I've got some serious computer problems here that I haven't resolved yet, but UFOcenter.com will be updated very soon. And breaking news, this is probably the most important report tonight that I will make, and that is, it appears that we have some very, very credible photographs of some aliens. I won't take the time tonight to talk about them until we've documented the photos, but in a word, they look to be about 10 or 12 inches high. They're showing up in photographs. As you know, George, I'm very, very conservative in what I say,
Yes,
the information I release. I would not even make this comment if I were not really intrigued by the photographs that I've received from 3 seemingly independent sources. We'll be posting those photos in the near future once I get a new computer and get rolling here. So,
all right, you let us know when it's ready to go, Peter. We'd love to take a look at those.
Will do. Okay. Thank you,
my
George.
friend. Thank you, Peter. Peter's website, UFOcenter.com. Bill Wark IV, the only man in America who was apparently fired from his job because he reported a UFO on his company CB radio. 2 days later, Bill was simply fired from his job and had his truck and tools taken away from him without any due process of law, and they say with the help of the local sheriff. Bill's not the kind of guy who you'd want to pick a fight with. He's been championing the UFO cause since we broke the story here on the 10-year anniversary of the Phoenix Lights back in 1997. That happened 3 days after Bill's incredible Phoenix Lights interview. Former Arizona Governor Fife Symington finally admitted seeing a huge UFO, vindicating a lot of Bill's research and adding a whole new layer of intrigue to this amazing story. We have Bill back tonight for a few hours. We'll check in with him in just a moment. Coast to Coast AM. Hey, a small pocket-sized radio, great reception. can be a struggle to find in your local store. I mean, you can wander up and down the aisles and never find it. But you don't have to worry about doing that, because our friends at C. Crane have a brand new pocket radio that I want to tell you. It's the brand new CC Pocket AM and FM and weather alert radio. The new CC Pocket gets great reception for its size. It's small enough to fit truly in your pocket. You can keep it by your pillow, do whatever you want with it, and it's only $59.95. The CC Pocket runs with a couple AA batteries. It includes a belt clip, earbuds, a clock alarm, sleep timer, built-in speakers. Really cool. You can call C. Crane now to order the brand new CC Pocket for just $59.95. That's it. At 1-800-522-8863. That's 1-800-522-8863. You can also visit online, very safe and secure. Take a look at all the great radios that they have at ccrane.com. And welcome back to Coast. Bill Warwick with us, of course, and for 10 years plus, Bill has been researching and investigating his own personal UFO experiences. I just mentioned to you what happened to him when he reported a UFO while working for his company, and Bill, of course, is with us now. Bill, what have you been up to? What are you working on these days?
Well, we got a couple projects going on. Been working with James Fox, who, as you all know, is the one of the videographers that was able to capture the actual Symington testimony of Governor Pi Symington sort of coming out of the closet and admitting that he had seen a UFO on March 13th, 1997. And I don't know if you know that or if it's been reported, but James has a new movie that he's coming out with, and he has kind of a contest going on that's giving away $100,000 to the best UFO footage that's submitted to them. So I think that's a great thing for what we're trying to do and trying to get some of this information out there. Hopefully that'll entice some people to come forward with some stuff they might have been holding on to for a while. And that would be myself included, by the way. So
that's exciting.
That's about it. Just keeping on going on with my businesses and this is a personal side thing. So it's all good.
We've got to get Peter Davenport to get those pictures of those aliens he just reported. And,
yeah, was he talking about they were 10 inches tall, or they?
Yeah, little ones, real little teeny ones. Real teeny ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So I'm sure he meant that they were in some kind of perspective point of view, but we'll see.
All right, so, since we all last chatted, you've been doing some incredible investigating. Tell me about this footage you've got of a military...
Yeah. Actually, that James's contest kind of made me want to come out and dig this out of the archive, so to speak. We actually had some footage from back in 2007 that we got here in Suffolk. And there's an unbelievable kind of story attached to this, because the footage that we captured was actually given to UFO hunters. It's a long story. It was kind of done behind my back. And they aired the footage, but they didn't analyze it. And so while they were getting ready to air the footage, and I had no idea that they were getting ready to air the footage, I was going through every single frame of the video, and I had like about, I don't know, probably something like an hour and a half of footage to go through, broken up into these sections. So anyway, long story short, out of an hour and a half and maybe a month and a half of rendering on a laptop, which back in 2007 was almost impossible, I found this one sequence where, and I have to give you a little background first. This witness, Terrell, he's been on national TV. That I was working with in Suffolk. I gave him the camera to go out and get this footage for UFOeyewitness.com at the time. And he went out on Halloween night in 2007, and he got some incredible footage. And the footage that he got, in particular, that we have, giving you guys copies of actually, was of a military jet of some kind that was making passes around an object that was hovering up on the horizon, about 20 degrees above the horizon. And what happened was Terrell had his camera with him, and he missed the first time because, he was kind of observing what was going on, so he missed the first pass, but he got the camera out for the second pass. And what he captured was this red light. You see the red light coming in, and that's clearly the jet. And he's narrating everything as it's happening. He's saying, the first jet just went around, and getting ready to see the second jet. He's going to make another pass around this thing. That's what they've been doing. Blah blah blah. So how do you, if it was fate, how could you predict what the jet was going to do? right? So,
Good point.
number one, right? So just right off the bat, you know this isn't a fake scene, so to speak. Number two, the plane almost comes so close to this object, it looks like it almost hits it or collides it with it. And just like he describes it, it kind of curls away. Now, if you look at it at full speed and you don't blow it up and you don't slow it down and you don't deinterlace it's an AVI, so you have to deinterlace it, and then do a frame blend to bring the frames back together the way it's supposed to be, you're not going to see anything. So that's what I did, and when you do that, what you get is this sequence where it looks like there's an orb that is coming around the side of this boomerang-shaped craft that's floating there in the sky, and when it connects to the bottom of some kind of gondola that's attached to the bottom of this thing, it lights up like a plasma discharge or something, and then as the energy source sort of starts to die down, then you start to see the lights blink out one by one, right until you see the last light itself. It looks like it's almost a triangle.
Where did the